Hi, this is Gabrielle Anderson. Sometimes I come on here and do some meditation. Today I actually want to talk about trauma. We are living in the middle of the corona pandemic, and a lot of people are beginning to experience trauma. And I wanted to begin to talk about what that could look like and some of the things that you need to keep your eye on yourself. I love to treat trauma. It's one of my specialty areas, and it's one of my favorite things to do. So I understand what it looks like. I understand what happens when we are under distress. I understand how the brain begins to code information and what we can do in the middle of something traumatic to keep it from becoming PTSD, post-traumatic stress disorder. But first you have to understand what's happening to yourself, and you have to understand what the signs are. You have to begin to become curious about what your stimuli is so that you can take a traumatic event and say, whoa, that was really stressful. That was really distressful. I'm going to work through this right now before I have too much time elapse. I'm going to organize it. I'm going to make sense of it. I'm going to let my brain begin to believe that I'm okay, that we don't need to code this for something triggerable. As I begin to give you examples of how I'm wired, the only reason I'm doing this is for you to become curious about, well, how am I wired? Because you might be wired completely differently than I am, but I want you to begin to explore and understand how your brain might grab stimuli during such traumatic events, such as COVID-19. So for me, I can't picture things. When a client is sharing their story, I can't picture it in my head. My brain does not work that way. However, I learn through my eyes and I learn through movement. So if I'm watching a TV show, for instance, and it becomes super dark, I can't watch it because it makes what I hear during the day become way too vivid and way too real. So I know that about myself. My husband knows that about me, and we just watch what I watch. And then I'm okay. Because I love to do the work that I do. I understand how my brain is wired. I understand that I learn through visual. And I understand that stimuli is going to actually overstimulate me and begin to give me stress hormones that I don't even need. So I protect myself. Let's walk through COVID-19. I know that everybody's wearing masks. I know that businesses are shutting down. I know that the dentist in my parking lot had to close. I know that the majority of businesses in my parking lot had to close. This I know with my intellectual brain. Experiencing it through my eyes, wow. Seeing the parking lot around the dentist whose practice is 3 times bigger than mine. I felt it, but I could deal. Seeing the parking lots of multiple stores in a parking lot be pretty empty. Whoa, I knew it. But seeing it in my eyes was like, whoa, I took that in very differently. Seeing the curbside delivery. What did it for me was going into my favorite Thai restaurant and having it visually set up differently. There's barricades in the front. There's hand sanitizer on the barricades. Everyone's wearing a mask. They won't touch my credit card. That visual stimulation was enough for my brain to go, this is so real. We knew this was real. This is so real. I feel like, Gabrielle, I need to start grabbing some of the stimuli because this is traumatic. We knew this was traumatic what the world was going through. We knew this was traumatic what the United States was going through. This moved into your neighborhood, Gabrielle. Are you aware that this moved into your neighborhood? I mean, intellectually, you're aware that this moved into your neighborhood, but visually, we are capturing very scary, scary things. So I began to feel the effects of trauma. Now, for everyone, that is going to be a bit different. For some of you, the effects of trauma might be you find yourself staring off into space. You find your heart rate beating. Your relationship with food is different. You're either really not eating or you're eating a ton. Your relationship with sleep is different. The same. You're sleeping too much, or you're so stimulated you can't even fall asleep. You might be curled up in a ball. There are so many different ways that this distress can look. Your heart rate is pounding. You're having panic attacks. You're beginning to lose your breath, scream and shout at your children. It could look very different for very many people depending on how you process it. Again, I'm a trauma specialist. So I know when your senses, like for me, it was vision. It could be something that you hear. It could be something that you smell, the way a sensation felt on your body. I know that a really good way to do that is through sensory drawings. It just goes in and it organizes the event, and it says like, hey, dude, we're not sticking here, so don't even think about it. Don't even think about creating enough triggers for me because I'm doing step number 1. So I went in there with some sensory drawings, and it helped. 30% better was how I felt, right? And then I said, okay, part of my drawings were, what does my body need? What do I need to do today? What do I need to do for the rest of the day? And yoga was on the list. Yoga came out. Fast forward to more stimuli, more stimuli, more stimuli. My brain was like, okay, I'm not sure we trust you. You did these sensory drawings, but we're getting more information here. Do you know what you're doing? Because I think this really is trauma, and I think you really do need to be alerted in the future. Anytime you see a mask, I think you need to know. I think you might need to know anytime you see Purell, that, whoa, this is dangerous, this stimuli, I think, no. See, I know what it looks like when trauma enters and begins to try to mound up, right? I know what it looks like when your hippocampus says, we might not want to fully timestamp this in the past. We really might need her to get triggered in the future to save her and protect her. And the amygdala's like, that's right. That's right. I'm the alarm system. We might need to protect her in the future. And I'm saying, like, guys, I know masks are benign and I know Purell is benign, so I'm going to do more work around this. But I have the tools. I have a sand tray at my office that I'm going to go do. I have art therapy tools at my fingertips that I've done. I know how to listen into my body. I know, but I feel like I'm still at risk. We all are. All of us are still at risk of some of this trauma really landing and really taking root. And I feel like it's part of my job to let you know how important it is to be aware. Be aware of how you're feeling, be aware of how you're responding, be aware of what your triggers might be, what your overstimulation might look like. You might shut down, or you might rise up and get angry and get scared and get, what does it look like for you? Being able to talk with your family members about this is so important, because maybe you're not experiencing this right now, but maybe someone in your family is, and you're noticing something's a little off. Their baseline shifted, it changed, and you're noticing it. This is my cue to you. This is my plea to you to become aware, because some of this you can catch right away. You can organize it verbally out loud to your spouse. You can walk and talk with a friend You might have already done art therapy and you know how to do some drawings on your own just to get it out and to organize it. But if you can't get there, reach out for help. If you already have an individual therapist who is trauma aware, reach out for help and say, hey, you know, I don't want this to take root, and I don't want some of the stimuli right now to become hardcore triggers in the future. Can you help me? Can you help me organize it at that level? We're in this all together as a nation, as the world. We're in this all together, and it's time to become aware so that we are all better because of it. We notice, we become stronger, we heal, and we become better. Take good care. Reach out for help when you need it. And listen to your body and what you need.